Hi friends, it's Lauren Taylor. Thanks for joining me in my craft room today. I'm excited to be sharing with you some of the new products from Pretty Pink Posh that have been released this week. I'm going to be creating a baby card, and first I'm going to show you the new Sweet Dreams shaker beads. I love the pink, minty, tealy colors of this shaker mix. I have the onesie shaker. I think it's so cute. I love all the little details. The Hello Little One sentiment from the Baby Basic stamp set is my favorite. There's also a coordinating die for this set as well. And then I'm going to use this new stencil called the Stacked Scallops for today's card. So let's jump into making our background. I did a lot of die cutting off camera, but we're going to start with our stenciled background. So I have an A2 piece of white cardstock. It's a really smooth cardstock that I like to use for ink blending. And I'm just going to use the B stencil. I'm looking at my stencil here. Yes, the B stencil to stencil our background today. I was going to do both. I wasn't really sure what I was thinking at the time, but I knew I wanted to create kind of a rainbow of very soft pastel, what I picture as baby colors. So I'm going to bring out 4 different color distress oxides, and I'm going to create kind of a pastel rainbow across the card with this B stencil. So I'm going to start with yellow. I just think yellow is the lightest color, so I like to start with that one first. So there are 4 kind of like perfect scallops that go across my card. So the second scallop set is going to be yellow. So I'm just going to add that color right down the card. I'm doing my best to make sure that the top and bottom of my cardstock also get covered, since it fits like perfectly in that stencil window since it's 5.5 inches tall. After I finish the yellow, I'm going to move into pink. So my yellow is squeezed lemonade and my pink is spun sugar. My kind of tealishy green is going to be salvage patina and my blue is tumbled glass. Those are like part of my go-to rainbow colors when it comes to pastels. In fact, I think I really need to get re-inkers because they are not as juicy as they used to be. So after I finished squeezed lemonade and spun sugar, I'm going to bring in that salvage patina and ink blend that on the third stencil or third scallop of the stencil. Now this one definitely needs a refill. It's going to take me a few applications of color, and I'm so sorry. I am such an aggressive ink blender. I apologize that I make my desk super wobbly when I ink blend. So please forgive me, but I wanted to show how I add all the color through this stencil. So after I added the pink and kind of grenishy colors next to my yellow, I'm going to bring back that yellow and try to smooth out the blend between the colors. And then my final color is tumbled glass, which is more of that cooler blue color. So I'll go ahead and fill in the last bit of scallops on this card. So I knew that I wanted to create these cute scallops on my background, and like I said originally, I was going to use both stencils. I didn't really have a game plan in my head of what I was going to do. I thought maybe I could just go a little bit darker with the colors, but after I finish these 4 colors here, I am going to go back a little bit and try to blend in that blue and salvage patina better. But I'm looking at it and I love the bold pastel rainbow scallops against the bold white scallops. So I like that as is. So I went ahead and just picked up my stencil, cleaned up my desk, and I'll set that aside to work on my shaker. So I'm going to make a little onesie shaker. So I die cut it out of white cardstock, and I'm going to stamp that Hello Little One sentiment onto this full white onesie. It's going to be the background of my onesie shaker. And like I said, I did all of my die cutting off camera just to save a little time. And then I worked really hard to make sure that my sentiment looked straight and centered. It took me a couple tries, but I spared you watching me count squares on my MISTI. But once I got it centered, I used some black VersaFine Onyx black ink to stamp it. It's like my go-to ink pad for black sentiments, and it just takes one little stamp, but I use my MISTI just in case I needed to stamp it again. Now I did a ton of die cutting of different colored onesies and different decorations for the onesies, But when I get to the card assembly, I'm going to completely change directions than what I was originally thinking. So I'll talk about that when I get there. So let's finish putting together the shaker panel. So I'm going to use my 1/8 of an inch strips to add adhesive behind the more straight parts of my onesie frame. And I'm going to attach that to the acetate that I also die cut with the solid onesie with the stitching detail. Now my acetate's a little thicker, so it didn't cut all the way through with the die, but it cuts really, really close to all the way through. So all I needed to do was just grab some scissors and finish trimming it out. And then I used liquid glue on the curved parts of my onesie frame just because it takes a long time to curve double-sided adhesive, and I just didn't want to have to deal with that. So I peeled off all the paper off of my double-sided adhesive, and then I just added liquid adhesive to those curved parts of the onesie. Now I'm using 1/8 of an inch strips. These are from scrapbook.com, and it's the 3 millimeter thick foam strip. And I peeled it off the set of strips, and then I also peeled off the backing, the release paper. So it is sticky on both sides right now. And I did that because it's so much easier to curve and turn and bend the foam adhesive to fit around the onesie shape. So I went ahead and went all the way around the onesie. I'm just going to trim off this extra piece. I did have to use 2 strips, so when you do that, you just have to make sure that you butt up those strips together really well so none of your shaker bits escape. And I'm pouring in some of those beautiful shaker beads, and then I'm going to line up the backing of my shaker panel onesie to the frame of my onesie. It's not totally perfect, that's okay, you can't tell, and it looks really great. I love this like clean white onesie. I remember getting so many packs of these for my daughter when she was born. It just brought a lot of memories of this white onesie, and I think it's so cute. I love how it turned out. So originally I was going to have a bunch of onesies all around the card and have this white onesie with the shaker be the main focal point. But I was covering so much of my scallop rainbow, I just didn't like it. So I'm going to change what I'm thinking here. We're going to make this card a lot more simple than I originally was thinking. So I have my shaker onesie, and I thought it would be so cute to put a little yellow duck on it to bring in some of that yellow since the rest of the colors are kind of being represented by the shaker beads. And then I love these little pink hearts, so I'm going to add those as well around the card. And I was originally thinking of taking my onesie and kind of tilting it to the side, but I'm going to end up just adding it straight onto the card when I get to that point. So I add a little bit of adhesive behind my little rubber ducky, and I got that glued onto my onesie. I'm taking liquid adhesive and I'm adding a bunch of glue behind my shaker panel onesie. And here you can see I was going to do it askew, but after a few seconds that I edited out because I thought about it for a long time, I decided, you know what, we're going to put it straight on. So I'm using the grid on my glass mat to help me make sure I get that onesie as straight as it can be. It's okay, it's handmade if it's not completely centered and straight. And then for my pink hearts, I'm actually going to pop these up with some 1 millimeter thick, so on the thinner side, foam circles. And I'm going to add a few of them behind each of my hearts and attach them to the card. So I put 2 on the bottom left and 1 on the bottom right just to give my card some like a diagonal to look at. I just find that really pleasing to the eye. And I like things in sets of 3, so I have 3 little hearts. Now I'm going to add my panel to my card base, and honestly that's going to finish off my card. I kept it really simple. I wanted that scallop rainbow to really shine, and I liked how it contrasts the white onesie on the front of the card. So there's a lot of color going on in the background, and then that nice clean onesie that's only clean when you get it, right? After it's worn once, it's never that white and clean again. But I just thought it turned out really sweet. I love that it could be for any baby, just a really cute hello little one shaker card with those beautiful shaker beads and that cute little yellow ducky on the onesie. I hope you had fun creating this card with me today and that you check out the brand new release from Pretty Pink Posh. So many adorable new things. I think you're going to love it. Make sure to also head over to my blog today for info on our blog hop for the release. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!